Bon, nou tourne internet ba yon problem aswe la. Ma salue tout le monde, ma di bonsoir à tout le monde qui branché. Encore une fois, bonsoir. Nous parler sur dernière information sur l'éducation. Nous parler sur différence qu'il y a en homeschooling et là où même parents ont décidé pour qu'un Timono la Cairo. Nous allons parler est-ce que l'école a ouvert en septembre là? Et si la ouvert, qui gens que la ouvert? Euh, so nous avons pris l'information, dernière information, gouverneur Abay avec maire de Blasio qui s'accueille avec qui s'accueille sur question l'école qui a ouvert en septembre. Est-ce que l'école a ouvert qui mesure tout que y apprend pour ouvrir l'école? Again, good evening, good evening. Again, we're going to be talking about latest information on education as well as the difference between homeschooling and keeping your kids at home. Because, there was a lot of discussion today online about whether people will be keeping their kids home. And I just want to make sure that I clarify that for them. Greetings, Donna Jackson, greetings. Greetings, everybody. Greetings, Alan. So there was a lot of things that come out. Well, not a whole lot of new information, but I just wanted to get on today to clarify as friends and colleagues and some folks in the community reach out to for me to clarify what's been saying about education. Will school open? Will school be reopening in September? Est-ce que l'école a réouvert en septembre? Et puis tout, gen pile conversation qu'a fait sur question que côté famille ou bien communauté pas et fait système de confiance. Il a parlé, il a pris une décision pour yo kembe quitter Timoun yo la kayo pour yo faire homeschooling. So, m'bral fonti expliquer, clarifier différence qui gagne avec homeschooling et là que ou même ou prend décision pour kembe Timoun yo la kayo qui ça et c'est deux bagages différents. Bon, pour nous commencer, to start, good evening, greetings, everyone. Vida, thank you for joining. Daniel, thank you, Danielle, thank you for joining in. What is going on? If you're in New York State, if you're in New York City, you're hearing, to some, it's a very confusing mixed messaging that's coming out, right, between the mayor and the governor. And it's really not mixed messaging. And to clarify that, Sakri Munyabdi, woman in New York City. So, as a school system, like many districts, toward the state, toward the country, what they are doing, they are planning as any effective system, if you would, leadership. You have to plan, and you have to plan for something, right? So you have to plan. So many school districts, what they are doing, or school system, they are planning for reopening in September, right? That is first number one. So just wrap your head around that, your mind around that. If you're running a business, if you're running a system, you have to have a plan in place. Otherwise, September is going to be here. That's not the time for you to say, okay, now you're scrambling. What are you going to be doing? So what's happening? What's happening? Every school district, every principal, I guarantee you, and school administrators are planning for reopening of school in September, right? Every school system, every school district, every school leader and leaders are planning for reopening school in September. Dr. Louis, again, thank you for rejoining in. I lost you for a minute there, but I thank you for coming back on. And then if you have any questions or comments, you can, type them in the comment box, in the chat box. So, what is going on? So the mayor, starting with Mayor Bill De Blasio today, what he's saying is this, as a system. Remember, New York City public school system is the largest school system in the country. Okay, the largest. So you cannot wait for the last minute for September 1st to say, okay, we're reopening. But what's the plan? So what he's saying that we are planning to reopen, and I think today he went a step further with the commissioner to say that this is their plan. They're going to follow a blended model, which I have talked about previously, because school districts and school leaders, we were looking at different models of reopening. The blended model is one that is probably the best model in order to meet the CDC and the Department of Health guidelines, what they are requiring in order for you to reopening. So let me just share this with you for a second. Imagine a school with about 500 students on a daily basis. You have 500 students on a daily basis with an overcrowding situation, circumstances, if you would. So now, according to the CDC guidelines, the Department of Health is requiring that you practice social distancing 6 feet apart, right? So just bear with me. So normally you have 500 kids in a school building with staff, right? With staff. You already have an overcrowding situation. Now the CDC guideline, welcome Dee, welcome Maureen, thank you for joining in. The CDC guideline is requiring 6 feet in order to practice social distancing. So just imagine that in a classroom. And also within that guidelines, it's also saying that, the optimum situation would be 9 to 12 students in a classroom in order to practice that social distancing of 6 feet. So right away, if you have a classroom of 20 students, now your classroom is reduced to half, right? Is reduced to half of the population. So therefore, how do you educate those other 10 students per classroom? You already have an overcrowded situation, lack of space for many school districts, depending on the regions where you live, right? So now, in order to practice that, to stay within those guidelines, and then remember, the number one priority is safety, right? All school leaders, any leaders, from the governor to the mayor to a school superintendent to a school building administrator, health is our number one priority. Making sure that every child can attend that school building and will be there safely. That is our number one priority always, whether with COVID-19 or without COVID-19. Safety is always our number one priority as a school administrator. So therefore now, with this guideline, in order to practice social distancing, you need to, 9 to 12 students in a classroom. So that's why the blended model is probably the best model, which, if I had to take an educated guess, would be that is the model most school districts probably will adopt, because it's allow them to practice that social distancing and at the same time educating all students. The other part of the blended model, what is it? It's that students will attend school. Some students, or half of the schools, half of the students' population will attend school maybe 2 to 3 days a week, and then they will receive the online instruction. Okay, they will receive online instruction the days that they are not in school, and then they will rotate. They will rotate, on a weekly basis. It could be a group of students go to school Monday, Tuesday, and the other students go to school Wednesday, no, Thursday, Friday, or Wednesday, Thursday, and then they receive instruction. Everybody receive instruction on Friday, right? So that is that blended model that they are talking about. Some instruction in person, some instructions online. So that is how that blended models will work. I have read some plan, across the country where they will do a staggered schedule where half of the students will come in the morning for 3 hours, and the other half of the students will come in the afternoon, and then the students will receive online instruction for the other half. So again, each region, it will be different. It's going to look differently for every district, because each district is unique as far as their situation. So that's why we cannot we cannot just make a general statement. We have to wait for the governor, based on the facts, based on the guidelines that he puts out, that to see which one your school district, your school is going to adapt, right? In order to best meet the health and safety guidelines, and at the same time educate your children, right? So it is very important that as parents, I know, I mean, as an educator, I mean, we are anxious because we want to know what's going to happen. Um, and unfortunately, in New York State, the governor is saying that he's not gonna make the decision right now because he doesn't know, because he's waiting to see what's going to happen with the coronavirus, based on social behaviors, right? On social behaviors. As you can see, more people are out, people are at bars, people are not practicing social distancing. Some people in some places, they're not wearing masks. So there was a lot at stake. And I can tell you, for many of us who live in the state of New York, I mean, if you were not in New York, like in March and April, to really experience what really took place with this pandemic, the amount of people who died, the amount of people who got sick. So it was a very terrifying moment for New Yorkers. So you may not have experienced that. You may not really fully comprehend what happened. But it was a very scary moment for the state of New York. So the governor does not want to say that he's going to reopen schools, in person without the facts, which is a very smart thing to do, because he definitely doesn't want to experience what occurred in March with this coronavirus. And I can tell you, as a resident of the state of New York, I really wouldn't want anyone to experience that. So when it comes to that reopening of school, yes, school will reopen in September, but how will it reopen? We don't know yet. But it will be some type of model that will satisfy the CDC guideline and the Department of Health guidelines. So, li très important pour nous mêmes qui gen ti moun qui pral l'école, pour nous prendre patience, pour nous rete tan qui qui est nan modèle yo que l'école yo a adopté et nous tout nous et pour nous connaître que tout monde dans l'école yo a travail et safety, précaution, santé ti moun yo avec staff yo, c'est ça qui est important pour nous toutes. So plan n'a planifié pour l'école ouverte, qui vient l'école a ouvert est-ce que d'après record maladie qui j'ai maladie après mois de juillet c'est là que décision ça après le fait et gouverneur Como a fait décision ça 1er août il dit là non seulement la bail qui j'ai l'école a ouvert et peut-être la bail direction tout qui modèle qui j'ai que l'école est capable ouvert so li mande en pile patience it takes a lot of patience. We have, really to just be patient with the process because, but like I said at the very beginning, we have to be patient with the process and understand that this virus is very is fatal as we experience in New York. So it is very wise to really take a little bit of time to really see what's happening with the virus before a decision can be made. So the governor will make the announcement as he stated today, the first week of August. He will make the announcement. And what's great about Governor Cuomo is that he doesn't just make announcement, he also gives some guidelines to what the protocol should be. So again, but as a school district or as a school system, we have to plan. We have to put a plan in place, as he requested for every school district to provide him with a reopening plan. So districts are planning. They have plans in place. How will they open? What will it look like? That's what we are waiting for. And then we will know that by the first week of August. So, and then if you are in New York City, again, if you're in New York City, if you have family in New York City, you have friends in New York City, again, the announcement was made, they will adopt a blended model. Okay, so, for people in New York City, you already know what the model will look like. Your child will go to school a certain number of days during the week, and they will receive the instruction online. So that's what that blended model looks like. So, I encourage you to, just be patient, depend on your state, depend on where you are, stay informed, stay in contact with your local school district to find out which model that they are adapting. But, and don't panic, don't panic. I know there was a lot of anxiety around it. Of course, as parents, you have to plan. You have to plan for September, but we still have time. It's still summertime. It's summertime. It's vacation time. But us as school administrators, we have to plan. We have to put some plan in place because you don't want your school to be in chaotic mode, come September because they were not prepared. So preparation are being made, and one thing I can guarantee you, whichever model that is selected or adopted by any school district, the number one priority is making sure that your children are safe, are in a safe environment, and practicing following the CDC guidelines and the Department of Health, guidelines. Again, Veronica, thank you for tuning in. Betty, Marie, Elza, thank you. Again, if you have any questions or comments, you can put them in the comment box. So that's where we are at. I know down in Florida, there are some schools they are actually not just in Florida, some state, they already put their plans out as far as what plan that they will adopt. But again, remember, one last thing that I want to, say when it comes to that, schools is a function of the state. The state governor is the one who make decision whether schools can reopen or close. Okay, it's a state function. It's not a federal government function because someone contacted me today and worried about a statement or a comment that was made about the federal government putting pressure on governors to reopen schools, and they kind of like they scared for their kids, and they will not be sending their kids to school. I would just say, just hold on. The federal government, again, like they said, they are applying pressure. They're applying pressure on governors. So that's what they can do. They can apply pressure. They can threaten to not release fund to the state. However, it still remains a state decision. Schools is a state function. It remains a function of the governor, and each state has that right and that authority to close and open school. So what that pressure means, it really doesn't mean anything. It only means that the president can say, he wants every school to open, but the governors of each state will decide how the schools open and when they are open. So just, my suggestion to you, parent, plan as you would normally plan for your children. Get their school supplies ready. Natalie, thank you for joining in. Marie, Bastien, thank you for joining in. Again, it's important for you to understand that just relax. There will be a plan in place. There will be a plan in place. You just have to make sure that you are ready, and then you follow. That each school, rest assured that each school district will be following the Department of Health guidelines and the CDC guideline. So, having said that, now some conversation. The other topic that I wanted to touch upon is homeschooling. Homeschooling, because some people were making the comments about, oh, I'm gonna homeschool my children or my child. Okay, so my suggestion to you, before you make that decision, to make sure that you research the definition of homeschooling. Okay, homeschooling is very different than what happened with when we went online, when we went to school online virtually. It's totally different. Once you, the parent, make the decision to homeschool, you have to develop the curriculum for your children or your child at home, and you are the one to be provide that instruction, whether it's by you, whether you hire a private tutor, or whether you hire an online company to provide that instruction to your child. It is very different. Again, I'm going to say that again. I'm going to repeat it. I don't want you to make that mistake making that statement that you will homeschool your children or your child at home. It's very different than virtual learning. So when you make that decision to homeschool, you are 100% responsible for the curriculum and any other standardized exam that child may have to prepare for to take in order to meet the standards and the requirements of graduation, depending on the age and the level of your child. So it's very important that you understand that homeschooling is very different than virtual learning. And so if what the school will do also as part of the plan, because of that concern, some parents may be concerned about sending their kids to school. Some school district, like New York City, they are giving parent the options. If they want to keep their kids home, they will receive their instruction virtually, which is different. Okay, totally different than you are homeschooling your children. Very, very different. I just wanted to make sure that you are clear and you have a clear understanding of that. So virtual instruction, yes, there was a lot of complaint about virtual instruction. Again, what I have to say to you about that, remember, this is new. This was a new phenomenon for all of us. I mean, teachers, school administrators, school district. I mean, around the world, this is not a New York thing or a United States thing. Around the world, schools were closed. No one knew what to do and how to address it. And we pretty much went from face-to-face instruction to, I mean, overnight, virtually online. And of course, some districts were more prepared for that. And then all that was, in terms of preparation, is whether the students have access to technology, whether they had an iPad, a computer, whether they have Wi-Fi, internet access at home. So that's what Beatrice. Thank you for joining in. Um, that's what that was. So because some places, depend on where you are at, they were not ready for that. They didn't have one-to-one devices. Meaning that one device per child per student. So some districts, some schools, they struggle with that. Um, but but by now, like New York City announced, based on the article that I read today, they are planning to distribute over 300,000, devices, come September. Excuse me. Again, so that as part of that preparation. So come September, when it comes to virtual learning or online instruction, school district will be better prepared for that. They will be ready for that. I know the other complaint when it comes to online instruction, the complaint was parents were complaining that their instruction were not being delivered. Teachers were just posting assignments, posting assignments to the website, to Google Hangout, and just post information into Google Classrooms. I mean, that is a conversation I'm sure as a school district review what works and what didn't work during that time, because it was a trying time for everyone. I just want to remind you of that it was not a matter of having everything that we need and the access to the technology. It was new for everyone. So everyone struggle a bit to get on board. But I think a couple of weeks later, pretty much many of the school districts were delivering instruction online. So it's important that you bear that in mind. I know it's nerve-wracking. I know you are anxious. Uh, uh, but it's important that you keep in mind that this is new, and we are preparing to reopening school based on the directions and the guideline by the CDC and the Department of Health, and also the governors of each state are in charge of reopening schools, and I'm sure they will put some type of guidelines for school districts to follow if we go face to face. So it is the goal of every district or every school administrator to return back into the building. So it's important that you understand that. Just be patient with the process. Cam, thank you for joining in to really understand, be patient with the process, because it is a process. It is a process that we have to go through, and the only thing I can guarantee you is that districts are planning for reopening. What will it look like? Again, we will find out if you're in New York State. We'll find out, sometime in August, as school district really, planning for reopening. So it's important for you to understand that, and and for you as parents as well, you have to stay informed. Watch the newspaper, Google the information about your school district, see what's going on, depending on the state that you are in. Because I know I have friends on here from different states. Just follow with what's going on, with what your governors is sharing. And then if you feel that, for example, I know in the South, the number of cases are increasing daily. Wait to see what kind of check with your school district, with your school administrators in your district or in your school, to find out what protocol that they putting in place for reopening. For example, something as simple as the way that we walk in the hallway. One of the things that we have to think about as a building administrator is the hallways. We normally we walk on the right side and the left side of the hallway. There's always traffic when students are exchanging classroom. So one of the things that we had to include in the plan in order to practice social distancing, to give you an example, is to make the hallway one way, where students can only come down or up one way on the staircase. So it's a very tedious process as a school administrator. So just to give you an idea, what school administrators, building administrators are working on, are putting into place. For example, talking about sports and extracurricular activities. Will there be extracurricular activities? Well, as for New York State, as the governor, opening, different getting into different phases. Sports, is reopened. Student can practice again, practicing social distancing. So it's important for you to make sure you stay informed in your state, find out what's going on. Brother Fritz, thank you for joining in. Mr. Pierre, Ronald, thank you. Pop, thank you for joining in. So it's very important for you to really stay informed pour capable connaître qui ça qui a passé dans le district qui genre de service que y a mettez, parce que suis capable de dire tout building leader a planifié pour l'école ouverte en septembre. Mais nous pouvons connaître, nous avons un plan, il y a différents plans, différents modèles, et nous prétendons pour le gouverneur lui-même dit qui guidance que Libanon pour nous capables ouvrir l'école et laisser nous connaître qui plan que n'a pas adopté. Et pas oublier nous dans un gros pays, là que dans un gros pays ou planifier ou bien différents plans si yon pas marché pour même et on l'autre yon même quand même a marché pour capable ouvrir l'école. So it's very important for us to understand that having a plan, the plan have to be flexible, the plan have to be adjustable, because this is new to everyone when it comes to this situation. So it's for us, we have to be a little bit patient with the process and understand that school personnel, school administrators, and the school staff, we are safety, health and safety is our number one priority always for our students. So just understand that, and I hope that this information put you at ease a little bit. Not thinking that Ketcha, thank you for joining in. Fritz said, I have grandkids. This is very important for me to listen to so I can inform the parent. You're welcome, Brother Sylvan. Thank you. Again, it's very important for us to be patient with the process. And remember, school administrators like myself and others, we have family. We have families, we have children, So we are also concerned. So safety, health and safety is always our number one priority. So if the governor said, when the governor made the announcement in August, which he said today that he will make his announcement the first week of August, or as of August 1st, he will make that announcement. So we'll know, rest assured that right now, school district already have some plans in place, multiple plans in place, and they just waiting for the governor to give some more specific guidelines to what he wants us to do. Again, regardless of what you hear from the federal government or anybody else, the function of the school remains a state function. The governor decides what happened with the schools, whether schools open, whether school closed, and I can tell you that the I can tell you that, and I'm sure Governor Cuomo, when he makes his announcement, he'll provide some guidelines. So, Ketch, I don't know if you have a question. I did share a lot of information about, reopening of schools, and also I talked about the difference between homeschooling and keeping your kids at home. There are two different things. Just very quickly, and I'm addressing this because, uh, someone asked me about it, and there are some comments about homeschooling, and understanding the difference between homeschooling and virtual learning. If you choose for a school district to if you choose to keep your kids at home because of COVID-19, and you will accept online instruction for a child, the district will provide that instruction. It's still, the responsibility of the district to provide that instruction. But you, as a parent, though, it is your responsibility to make sure that there is consistency, there is a place of focus where your child will be able to follow a schedule at home, that you have someone that's going to help that child at home when they're receiving that virtual instruction. That is part of the plan or options to parents. The other piece is some people were making a comment about they will homeschool their children, which is a completely different than you keeping your kids at home due to COVID-19 and accepting virtual instruction by the district, provided by the district. So homeschooling is you, once you make that decision, you pulling your child out of the school district. Okay, you unregistering them, you withdrawing them from the school district, and you provide the district with a plan, with a curriculum, as far as what you are going to teach your child at home, and who's going to provide that instruction, whether it's you, the parent, whether it's you hiring a tutor, a private tutor to come to the house and provide, tutor or tutors to provide that instruction, or whether you're going to pay out of pocket for some type of online service to provide your child with that instruction. So it's totally, completely your responsibility to educate your child when you decide to homeschool your child. That is a big difference. That is a big difference. So I just want to make sure that everyone understand that the difference between the two, that it is just not, an option. Oh, I'm going to homeschool, and thinking that, the school district is going to provide you with a teacher, with all the resources for to homeschool your child. Homeschooling means you taking that on responsibility to provide your child with the education that they deserve. Hi, Kathleen. Thank you for joining in. So it's very important that we understand the difference, that we are not just talking out of emotion, that we make an educated decision, informed decision about about what we do about our children. So homeschooling is very different than the school district giving you virtual instruction or online learning as an option as part of their plan. It's two different options. Um, I still think it's too early to open any school, especially with the second wave going around, and there's no vaccine yet. I actually think we should wait for a vaccine before opening the school. Again, uh, as a parent, myself, it's family is gonna have to make some decision. It's going to be your level of comfort when it comes to sending your children to school, and then if you feel that the schools are, I mean, after you reach out to your school, you contact the school, you hear what their plan is, what protocol that they put in place, whether they have temperature check at the entrance of the school, whether they have hand sanitizers, what is the plan for and and cleaning the school toward the day after you hear the plan, because this is all part of the plan. So I want you to understand the plan is not just reopening school. The CDC guideline is very specific. 6 feet apart. Each children have to be six feet apart in a classroom. So again, imagine that. Again, the number of students, classroom size will reduce from 22. Now we're talking to 9 to 12. So we can practice social distancing. We're talking about, temperature check. We're talking about vaccination, not vaccination. We're talking about hand sanitizer. We're talking about the lunch program, the breakfast program, morning program, after school program. What happened if a child has a symptom? When they come to school, they have a fever. So now they have a fever. You got to have a separate room now. The nurse need to have a separate room for those students who have a fever, because you don't know if it's COVID-19 related or not. Than to a regular students who may be vomiting. It is a very tedious process, and I'm just sharing some of the things that goes on during the school day in a health office on a regular basis. So now imagine that in order to practice all the guidelines. So normally a kid's vomit at the school, it's automatic. We gotta call the parent. The parents have to come pick the kid up, right? The kid have a fever. The parent have to come pick them up, and they have to wait. I believe they have to wait 24 hours free of fever before they can return back to school. That was a normal procedure on a daily basis that school nurses around the state, around school districts are dealing with, right? And now with COVID-19, with all this guideline, so we have to prepare for all of that, all these extra rooms that will be needed. So it's very important that for you to, as a parent, to try to understand. I know you want your kids to go back to school, but we are planning. This is the planning stage. This is the planning process. We are thinking about all these different things that we normally do anyway, but now we have to have put things in place just to deal with this situation. So again, as always, I only come when there is like important information to share with you when it comes to education and information that I know that might be valuable to you and that you can share with your friend and family. Again, you can always inbox me with a question or a comment, and I'll do my best to provide you with the information. In the meantime, be safe, stay well. Again, to my friends and family in the South, the southern part of the country, please be safe. Take care of yourself, and speak up against injustice. And I'm just gonna leave it right there. To speak up against injustice and police brutality against black men and women across this country. So this man right here, Colin Kaepernick, started this, and he pretty much lost his football career over what become a worldwide movement towards injustice, in this country. So I thank you for watching. Be safe. Again, speak up. Have a good night. I'll see you next time.